Good afternoon. Welcome to FTB Sports. I am Breezy. I am joined by Travis and Solo7. We're talking about all things Arsenal and Manchester United. Arteta in, Ollie out. Let's get your reactions. I was joined by. Let's go.
Okay.
Shall I go first?
Go on. You go first.
Okay, yeah. So it might be surprising to say, people are saying, why is the Arteta out? It's impulsive. He's reacting to the defeat that happened on the weekend. But no, I've been fairly consistent. I felt we needed to give him more time. But some of the stats that have been coming out, his winning percentage as a manager compared to Emery, I mean, he's got a 42% win percentage. He's lost 17 games, won 21 games, drawn 2. I just feel like he's been given enough time. He's been given enough time. And what I wanted to see from him is progress. What I wanted to see is a vision of what he's trying to play. And at times, I'm not going to be unfair to him. He has given that to me.
Yeah.
But recently, I feel like he's lost a bit of the dressing room. The respect seems to have gone. And I think it's down to his man management, which has been atrocious, can I say? Atrocious. The way he paraded your captain, the club captain, whether it's right or not, the way he was paraded in front and disciplined in public did not help the morale of the team. The way he sent a lot of players, and especially some players that were with the club a long time, I'm not saying it was the wrong thing to do, but the manner in which he treated Ozil was absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. And finally, when you're doing all of that and you're not getting results, that makes it completely different. Because if he was winning and if he was in the top 4 and if he was really, really still in the FA Cup, still in other cup competitions, I would have nothing to say. I'll be like, Travis, keep quiet. You know, his methods work. There's method to the madness. So is it working? It's not working, and that is the difference. And this is why I think he's not the right man for the job. This is a man with no experience. This is a big job at Arsenal. This isn't any other job. This is an overhaul of a club from the top down. And he's been given more power, more influence along with Edu, and he's not doing enough with it.
Yeah, and I'm going to touch on what you're saying with it, though, because I think me and Breezy was having a discussion before we went live. And this reminds me of Arteta. Again, I'm a United fan, so I'm not going to sit there. I think what you said about Arteta, some of the points are correct, but then because I'm a Man United fan and I'm looking at it differently, I can see some of the stuff Arteta is doing is good. So let me touch on my thing with it first with Arteta. So with Arteta, I think he's got philosophy of football of what he wants to do. That's the first thing with him. He's got philosophy, and he doesn't want to change. He hasn't got plan B. He's got plan A, and he wants to stick to the plan A all the time to try and influence game and win games. Now, he doesn't have the players for that. He doesn't have the backing of the board for that. Then, on top of that, he reminds me so much of when Wenger, just before Wenger, the last 2 or 3 seasons before Wenger left the club, it's almost like he's believing in the youth more. It's almost like he can't control the bigger name players, and he wants to bring in people who won't say no to him and will basically almost, yep, you're playing for Arsenal now, you run through brick walls. That's why I look at Arteta. But when it comes to, say, he's got a philosophy of what he wants to do on the pitch, I can see that. Totally agree with that. Now, for me, being a United fan, United are sitting second in the league. We are sitting second in the league. But I'm still not convinced with Ole. I've said it from day dot. Ole out. I will still say it, Ole out. And I will continue to say Ole out. And the reason why is because I watch his game management, and his game management is shocking. It is shocking. First off, of probably say 80% of our game this season, we've gone down to a goal. And it's almost the second half that we get back into the game. And that's only because of one player, individual brilliance, each game, getting us out of trouble. Now, again, ifs and buts. If Liverpool didn't have as many injuries as it had, as it pained me to say Liverpool with their injury, if they didn't have that injury list, might put me second. If Spurs had two better centre-backs, Spurs were doing a lot better. If Arteta, to be honest with you, if Arteta did not get rid of Ozil, yeah, I could see you guys higher up in the league. But you know, that's how I feel. That's how I am with about Ole, because I've watched games this season where, again, let's just talk general. He sits on the bench and nibble his fingernails. Guy nibble his fingernails on a touchline. Rather than jumping on touchline, barking instruction out, just sitting there with legs crossed looking at a monitor. What kind of manager does that? Pep Guardiola, the best manager in world football. He's on the touchline. He's kicking the balls with these guys. Man United meant to be the biggest club in world football. And our manager is sitting there biting his fingernails. And it's almost, again, I watch a lot of United games, but when you watch Man United, you always look at Michael Carrick, and it's almost Michael Carrick has to go to him to talk to him about making changes.
True. So I'm going to pick up some of those points. The first thing I want to address, your first point you were talking about, is Arteta going with the youth and not having the right players. I agree with you, but you have to adapt. And any manager walking into any job, you can't moan about what you don't have. You can't. I can't work at a job and I do my profession and then I moan about what I don't have. And my boss comes to me and says, well, you haven't been performing. Well, I don't have the right PC. I don't have the right processor. I don't have the right printer. Don't blame me for it. It's his fault. It's his fault. And as for playing the youth, I'll tell you one thing. He got lucky. I've told the boys in the group chat. He got so lucky. At end of December, COVID happened. Willian was sick, couldn't play him. He wanted to, but he couldn't.
What a signing!
Then there were injuries and suspensions, and he was forced to play the youngsters that made this season that was going to be laughable and absolutely ridiculous, and one of the worst seasons in our history, in my opinion, transformed because Smith Rowe and Saka and Martinelli were forced to play. He was forced to do it. And when they played, not only did they play, they showed all those senior players that had no guts, no spine, what can be done with a bit of effort, a bit of passion, and a bit of playing fearless. They're fearless, the youngsters. And as soon as they're out of the squad, we saw the same sorry team on Saturday, and look what happened. Did you see what happened?
Oh, yeah, you got bruised. We got battered. In and out of possession, the most passenger-like performance, and the front six were absolutely disgraceful. Some of the worst performances I've seen in a long time. I could never imagine Henry trolling around, careless, coming off all attitude. Henry was too good for that, and you know what? I was so sad. I went back on YouTube looking for Henry's clips, thinking, "Oh, the good times when Bergkamp and Pires running around." Oh, I was like, oh, yes. It was beautiful. Now, to your second point, I think you're being harsh on Ole. I think you're being a tad harsh, okay? Do I think he's the right man for the job? Absolutely not. I don't think he is. And like you said, and I agree with you, if it wasn't for Pogba, Rashford, or your big man Bruno, you guys would be in the dumps with us. But their individual brilliance has got you out of so many games. The amount of times Bruno scored worldies, where you guys have no right to be in any game. I'm like, okay. And I can see Ole as well. He's on the bench. He's like, oh, freak, for that, man. You saved my bacon, because we both know if Bruno and Rashford all got injured at the same time, he's done. Yeah,
I think he would have been sacked by now. Am I right in saying that?
I'm interrupting you now because you can see the massive impact. A lot of Man United fans criticise Pogba, and you can see Pogba got injured against Everton. Yeah. We won one game in 6. Pogba was injured. One game in 6.
Surprised.
Yeah, and people are out there saying how bad Pogba is. Pogba is our best player with Bruno Fernandes. End of.
Absolutely.
Then
genuine world-class player.
Yeah. But then when you saw it as well, Rashford got injured recently. So you had Rashford and Pogba out. Nothing happened. We drew something like 4 games in a row.
Wow. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
It just proves it. It proves. And then, like what I'm saying, for Man United, listen, if Ole went and won the Europa League, finished second in the league, I'll say, you know what? Well done. But as a Man United fan, and a lot of people might think I've been spoiled over the years of Man United being successful. I've gone through hard times as well. I've gone through the hard times. Ron Atkinson was manager of Man United when I started supporting them. So that's how far back I'm going. So I wasn't spoiled all the time. So for me now, and for the level that Man United have reached that peak, we need to stay there. We can't let teams like Liverpool come in 30 years later dominating us. No way. We shouldn't let Man City with money. Money can buy you players. But at the same time, as a man, you've got to mold those players together. And Pep Guardiola...
I've got a question for you. Sorry to interrupt you.
Go on.
What is a good season for you then? Because like you said, you can still win the Europa League. Yeah. You can still finish second. Yeah. Based on the teams around you, like Liverpool seemed so far ahead. Obviously, they've fallen from grace. Worst champions ever. I still back what I said, okay? Yeah. I'm not being salty. I still think they're the worst champions ever. One of the worst ever. But what is a good season for Ole? What would make you say, I changed my mind? Like, I'm sticking with Ole. I'm Ole in.
You know what? Change your mind? If next season comes, because he will be there next season, if Ole turn around next season, we finish second in the league next season, yeah? His game management is better. He's shown a bit more passion on the sideline. He goes there, win us a trophy, like, say, for instance, Champions League, or win us Champions League, win us, FA Cup with Champions League. Winning the FA Cup and the League Cups, it's nothing. I love the FA Cup, but it's nothing. I want us to go there, win trophies, and be a bit more convincing with our victories, rather than going down 1-0 to these. Again, no disrespect to Brighton. We look like a shadow in the first half against Brighton. We're Manchester United. We go to Sheffield United knowing if we win that game, we're top of the league and we go 6 points clear in the league. We got battered 3-1. Absolutely battered. We gone to Everton 2-0 up. Game management. No. Got drew 3-3. That's the manager. Training. It's about what they're doing on that training pitch. We've got a player called Van der Beek is sitting on that bench, riding the bench week in, week out. And
that was a weird signing for me. That was a weird signing. With
Van der Beek. Yeah. Pogba got injured. Van der Beek should be playing. Bruno got injured. Van der Beek should be playing. Van der Beek is not playing. Why? Why sign a player, a young, talented player who can play as a holding midfield player? He can play as a 6. He can play behind as a box-to-box player. But we're not playing him. We're playing Fred and we're playing Scott, the double pivot.
I got a question for you, right? What does Scott have on Ole for him to be picked every single week? I just need
Friends
to know
United, mate. Friends United. What you got to look up? Ole pick a team. You know what the core of the team's going to be. You're going to be having Scott in it straight away. You're going to have Fred in it. You're going to have, because these are the players who listen to him. These are the players, these little puppets. These are his little puppets. So you'll have Scott, you'll have Fred that will start. You will not drop Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes picks himself. He's falling out now with...
rightly so, though, to be fair.
Yeah, he's falling out now with De Gea. Because, again, he had an interview about 4 or 5 weeks ago where before De Gea went off to Spain with his family, and he said, De Gea himself. He said that on national TV, De Gea picks himself. So it's only because De Gea has gone to Spain with for the birth of his daughter, and all of a sudden, bang, and that's it. Then all of a sudden now he's the worst player in the world, and we want to sell him.
I'm also not sure about Oli on another thing. Let's talk about Lingardinho. How could he let him go? Okay,
listen, again,
this guy is the baddest man the other side of the Premier League. This man scores when he wants, he assists when he wants, and he can score a 60-yard solo wonder goal too. And he didn't even make the squad. How do you feel about that?
Listen, again, I call him Messi Lingard for a reason. And there's a reason why I call him Messi Lingard. Again, I hear Man United fans. And again, this is what upset me about Man United fans. Because I'll say to people, I'll back all the players. I just don't back the manager. I'll back all our players. But people are sitting there saying, Rashford's homegrown. But when you watch Rashford, I love Rashford. And I'm not going to sit here and criticise Rashford. But when you watch Rashford play, he gives the ball away. He has shots from distance where he shouldn't have. But wait for it. Bruno Fernandes does that now. He gets criticised. So for me, Lingard's the same. Like, they berated Lingard. They absolutely annihilated Lingard. And Lingard, apparently, I'm not sure of the story, but apparently went through a lot of difficulty at home. And it's almost like, did Ole support him? I can't tell you whether or not Ole support him, but Lingard's a bad man. I don't care what no one tell me. And people are trying to say, oh, yeah, we'll take 40. Yeah, I think they're going, oh, sell him for 40 million. He's not going to sell him for this. Please, come on, man. And what, we're going to go out there and buy someone unknown player as a squad player, and we've got Lingard, who's only 28 years old, his peak now, like, show the Premier League what he's worth. Did you see his assist yesterday? This world. If he was...
While we're at it, sorry to interrupt, my man. Let's have a good look at some of these comments because they are flying in. Let's keep it coming, guys.
Okay.
Don't forget to...
Breezy, do you want to... Yeah, Breezy, do you want to comment on anything before I go through the comments? Do you want to touch on anything?
I have a few questions for Travis, but I was waiting for you guys to,
No, keep it coming, man.
Keep it. Go on, Travis. Hit those up for us, please.
No, go on, give me the question.
No, go on, Breezy, you go.
Oh, all right. So, Travis, obviously with the whole Aubameyang thing, do you think that how Arteta managed him at the Spurs game, obviously dropping him because he was late and putting a lack of in, do you think that's what's changed him currently in the league?
Absolutely not. I think he's been underperforming this entire season. I think they said 6 goals in 8 games, really deceptive because he had a hat-trick, I think, at Fulham and 2 goals at Newcastle. So he's been scoring in patches. So he hasn't been consistent, and his goals per minutes ratio has been one of the worst since he's been at the club. So he's been playing poorly, regardless. And he's one of those players that, and he's always been that way in his defense. If he does not score a goal, he's basically he's a passenger. He's an absolute passenger. What you're seeing now is attrition. I think at 32 years old, he's not as quick as he used to be. He's still very quick, don't get me wrong, but he's not as quick as he used to be. And he's never been a dribbler. He's never been a skillful player. He's been on the last shoulder as a number 9, and then he pounces and works in behind. But Arteta's probably figured out with Aubameyang, because he holds up the ball so poorly, he wants him coming in from the left. So he's not man-marked by 2 big central defenders, because in the Premier League, we've got some of the biggest and strongest centre-backs. And he can be isolated in no man's land. Because when we've tried him at number 9, and he's played there 6 or 7 times this season, it hasn't worked. So I know Arteta's thinking. But the problem is, if you're playing that poorly, you need to be on a bench. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter how big your contract is. It doesn't matter if you're the captain. If you're not playing well, no man should be above being benched. And he showed a reluctance with Arteta. He's done it with Willian eventually, and he was compelled to do so, but he seems to refuse to do so. And I think Aubameyang's trend is going downwards. And I think this is the way he was treated. I think it's angered him. You can see his whole mood. He loves his teammates, hugs them, but when he comes off the bench, doesn't really acknowledge Arteta anymore. And this has been 4 games now where he kind of like does that kind of head down. Before, when things were going well, hugs, kisses. They were so happy. They were the best of friends. He's gonna stay. I love him. That you can see the relationship has changed. I'm no I can't read body language, but I'm no expert. But you can see when he comes off the bench now, or comes on or whatever. It's just they just don't have the same relationship they did near the start of the season, where they were just buzzing and happy and high-fiving. It's changed. So I think it's had a major impact on how he's performing, because if you don't like your boss, especially in football players, this is one of the few professions where if you underperform, you can get someone sacked, especially if you've got a big contract, because you don't have to worry. You're like, I'm good. I've got £350,000 a week. You can try and settle me if you want. I'm not going anywhere. But the manager, he knows that the manager can. It's very hard to replace 11 players. Very easy to replace one, especially if he's on a low contract. He's not the highest paid manager in the world. I think he's 6 million. So if they were to, I don't think he's going anywhere for all this parade I'm putting on. I am 100% sure he's going to be the next.
Going nowhere.
He's going nowhere.
So obviously, Europa League, not to get into too much into at the moment. Obviously, would you bench Aubameyang and put Martinelli in?
Absolutely. Listen, Aubameyang needs to be rested, taken out of the line of fire. When someone's underperforming, I think Alex Ferguson was the master at that. When someone was going through a bad patch, sometimes you just have to protect them from themselves, because when things aren't going well, you tend to try hard. When you try hard, you lose focus. You expend too much energy doing the wrong things in the wrong places. And you always feel, because you see sometimes a bad man will chase back 60 yards to do a tackle. I don't want to see a 32-year-old like predator in the box, in his own box. It just feels wrong to. I don't know about you guys, but I hate seeing Aubameyang playing left back.
I used to hate Rooney. I used to hate Rooney tracking back. Used to hate it. Absolutely hate it. He had it in his box,
in your career. But as good as Harry Kane is, I hate when he's in his own box. I don't think any striker, especially the caliber of Kane or Oba or Rooney, like you said, even though Rooney's game changed near the end of his career, they should not be in their box anytime. Can you imagine Henry playing there? Like, no, no.
Okay. Should we hit the question? Go on. Sorry, Travis.
Yeah. So thank you very much for the question, guys. So Paul Carr says, both still learning, both learn from good managers. Maybe Arteta might be another case of why you shouldn't start your manager career with a club too big for yourself. I kind of agree on this. I kind of agree. Ole and Arteta are not proven winners. They've been given the keys to the kingdom with little on the CV. Well, nothing on the CV.
Yeah. Just walked in.
Exactly. Yaba Form says, greeting guys, I'm Arteta in. He's got a philosophy and it's only right that you drop off whilst you're transition for long-term goal. Arsenal join Leicester City and Liverpool as teams with a philosophy.
We spoke about that on the United. He's a United fan. He's a United fan, and we spoke about that. This is what I was trying to say earlier. He's got a philosophy of how he wants to play football. We named the other day. We named on the Man United show. He asked us five top teams that got philosophy, who's got style of play football.
Yeah,
and we named every single team apart from Man United.
Listen, I'd rather have Ollie's philosophy right now, and that's winning. Okay, I'll take the W every day of the week. I'd rather take an ugly win, than a pretty loss, and that's just the way I feel. That's just the way I feel.
And the next one, Yabba again.
Yabba, what says he needs to get rid of Deadwood and bring in his own players. I think is he referring to Arteta then?
Yeah, Arteta.
Okay, that's fair. Arteta 8th and 10th has made them worse with signs like Partey, Willian, awful manager, couldn't lace his Ole's boots. Wow. Okay, I won't go that far.
Wow.
Paul Carr, it's well and good putting it all down to Deadwood when certain teams still winning games with Deadwood. Absolutely agree. If you go squad for squad, I think we've got a better squad than Leicester. I think we've got a better squad than West Ham. Tell me I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Ole is second in the league. He simply can't do better with the squad he has. Okay, listen. Ole spent a bit of cash. Okay. Listen, you can't use that with Ole. If it's Arteta, I can understand, but Ole spent a bit of cash. You know, they needed a offensive midfield player. They go and get one of the best in the world. So let's not feel sorry for Ole right now. That's what I'm going to say. What about you?
To be honest with you, like I said, I think we've got a squad to challenge for the Premier League, and we're not challenging for the Premier League. We have got a squad. So for me, right now, if we're 3 points behind, say, City, I wouldn't be doing this. But to come back, and I think we're 14 points behind City, and we had the opportunity to be closer to City than what we are. It's embarrassing. And especially the start City had as well.
And they've had no strikers for a long part of it, by the way.
No strikers at all.
Ozil clearly had an attitude problem. That's all speculation. Let's not speculate if we don't know.
Yeah.
Also notice Arteta's man management. Look how he doesn't know how to deal with Aubameyang. Absolutely agreed on this. I think I made that point earlier.
Yeah.
The way he's treated Aubameyang, atrocious. So harsh on Ole. Ole knows how to get the best out of Bruno, Rashford, Pogba, and Shaw.
Nah, them players are good. They got a good IQ. That's the difference.
Okay.
They got IQ. They're good players. They don't need Ole to tell them what to do.
The only thing I can criticize of Ole is his inability to change formation to suit players better, such as Van de Beek.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah,
Another one that
you said
upsets
something
me.
similar. You said that, didn't you?
Upsets me.
I'm not vexed. I'm just passionate, you know. Chelsea, a very fair point. Fair point. But the reason, let me clarify why I said the worst champions ever. Because Liverpool were at such a high level. Remember, they were not only Premier League winners,
They
were
won it by
Champions
margin,
League
margin
winners.
as well. The
Okay.
Premier League.
And they had maybe at the time 6 or 7 players that were made the world team. So they were one of the best teams, not just in England. Some were saying ever, okay, because they made back-to-back Champions League finals, okay. And the drop-off has been outstanding. Huge. I've never seen something so big. So that's why I said the worst champions ever. So that's what I meant by that. To the man on the left, do you think Ole can do better than the second with Man City squad depth? Look at the bigger picture. Yes, Man United, your team is nowhere near City's or Liverpool's. Ooh, how do you feel about that?
For me, again, I don't think the team we've got is awful. I reckon you could put Pep Guardiola in that team and we'll do better. You could put Klopp in that team, it will do better. So for me, the way I look at it is, it's down to the management, and playing this double pivot literally distressed me every time I see it. It distressed me because we shouldn't be playing Fred and Scott together. We should be playing Pogba, Van der Beek, or play Fred and Pogba. This double pivot.
Not to mention Chelsea are spending you. Yeah, Chelsea spent a few bob.
Chelsea spent over 200 million this summer, didn't they?
Oh my God, Man fans are so fickle. Bruno's in his position, so is Van der Beek. Not to mention, all United fans wanted Lingard off the wage bill. Now he's performing. That's nothing to do with Ole. It's everything to do with Ole. He picks the team. What are you talking about?
He picks the team. Ole picks the team. But for me, you see, again, and I keep saying it, if you go back and watch any of the United shows on this channel, every time we talk about Lingard, I get laughed at. When I say bringing Lingard back to the club, I get laughed at.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yaba.
After the last time, I explained why I thought Liverpool were the worst ever. All about the anger. There we go.
You
all
got
about the end game for Arsenal. Doctor Strange voice. I don't know what Doctor Strange's voice, but maybe one of you lads could give it for me. But
no, I'm not going to be Doctor Strange at all.
What are you, Breezy? What are you, Arteta? You haven't actually said. Are you Arteta in or out, man? I want to hear from you.
You guys clearly have
no. Go on. We want to hear you. We've convinced him. We've turned him. He's turned out.
I'm a setter in. So basically, I see a philosophy where with Arteta, I think obviously there are certain individuals in the team that are causing him issues and simple mistakes like Xhaka, Cedric, and for the West Ham and that's the Villa game. Not dependent all on them by any means, but I'm thinking as a collective team, he has changed a lot of things. Yes, his win percentage with Emery is massively different, but I think that if he had another transfer window with a bit more money, if he can get the Champions League, that's a big if. I think he can start challenging more. I just think that there's certain players like with the Baming thing. I've been calling for Martinelli to be starting for months because I just think that guy is an absolute baller, and when he's on that pitch, he runs ragged, and that's the same thing you get with Smith Rowe and you get with Saka. And I think with Odegaard's creativity,
quality player.
With them, they're all linking up. I think that is an absolutely frightening formation. The problem is that Arteta seems to be more stuck on playing Aubameyang and Laka than actually looking at what he's got. Yes, okay, Laka's obviously he's one of our star strikers, but the problem is that Aubameyang's been misperforming, like you said, for months. Martinelli's been sat on the bench, warming it up like Van der Beek. We've been seeing training videos of him scoring goals in training videos. The man's hungry. Let him loose. Let him on the starting lineup with Odegaard, Smith Rowe, and Saka. I'll tell you what, the rest will just look after itself.
Yeah, but then I'm going to touch on what you're saying there, Breezy, because you made a good point there. If you look at Liverpool front three, literally. The team didn't even have to worry in defense or anything like that because the front three carried. And this is the thing with me with Man United. It's almost like we definitely and desperately need a right player. I don't think we'll get one. I don't believe we will get one. Sancho has been again rumoured around to come to United.
Diallo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you now?
Yeah. So Diallo for me, Diallo, yes, Diallo would be big for us. It'd be huge for us. Absolutely massive. But the problem is, again, he's another person who sits on the bench. Ole he came on against AC Milan, scored, what is it? Not AC Milan, sorry, Real Sociedad, was it? Came on, scored a goal. Yeah. Show them how it's done. Again, didn't start. Came on like the next game. I think he didn't start the next game. The game after that, he came on for like 5 minutes. Cameo. Now, for me, he should be starting the right side. Don't get me wrong. Greenwood's brilliant. Greenwood's brilliant. He's brilliant. So I cannot deny Greenwood. But again, he's not going to get opportunity at United, because if we're going to go give Cavani, again, I've got no qualms about Cavani. I think he carried this extra edge for us and for the youngsters. But we're going to give him another contract. We're going to hinder, again, another youngster's career. So, for me, that's the way I look at it with United at the moment, because we got bundles of talent. Imagine Arsenal with you guys play those front three. Frightening.
Well, the thing is, they were saying that obviously that when Odegaard was coming in, it was going to stunt Smith Rowe's progression. But the thing is, if anything, it's heightened it, because they're both challenging for that spot. And it's good to have that competition. You know, when was the last time we sat there and, you know, as Arsenal fans, actually had a headache of picking the starting 11, because we've actually got an abundance of players. They're actually playing the high level, and the fact that it was the youngest that, you know, picked up the senior lot and said, you know, we're playing for the badge, all you're paying for is the money.
Yeah.
That's powerful. That is powerful.
But that's the truthful though. It's the truth. If you look at Martinelli, when he came in, he had an under-23 contract. He was on minimal wage. Same thing as Saka and Smith Rowe. Obviously, Smith Rowe's not yet, but they both came in, both performed, both produced when we needed to. Grabbed the games by the scruff of the neck and said, "This is what we need to do." And they got the big contract because they've earned it, because they were playing for the badge, not for the money.
Yeah. And this is a thing. This is a thing for me. And like I said, I think with Greenwood, I find Martial. I find Greenwood. I find Rashford. I find Lingard. Them guys love Man United. They love Man United. They've got the DNA. Again, Scott. Much as I said, Scott shouldn't be starting. Scott is a squad player. That's my opinion. But again, he loves the badge. He loves the badge. A lot of these guys are coming in. The only thing I can say, which is positive about it, a lot of these guys he's bringing in, we're not bringing them on big wages. That's one thing I can sit there and say. That's it. That's what I can say. But guys, listen, I think should we go through these last comments? I 100% think we need to bring another show on next week and continue this.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
I'm all for it if I've got the time. You know, weekends are tough for me, but I'm a weekend guy. But yeah. I'll try. I'm not making any promises.
No, we'll do it. So do you want to do last comments for us, Travis? And then we're going to...
Yeah, sure. Ole doesn't use Matic enough, to be honest. How do you feel about that?
Pardon?
Ole doesn't use Matic enough.
Oh, no, Matic is finished. Matic needs to retire, man. No, he's a great player, a great servant, but he needs to retire now. Time is up.
Next one, Dan James's quality as well. Honestly, so underrated. People say he's all praise, but his final pass has improved so much.
What we call him, and then the man, you know what we call him? We call him the Welsh Flash, because the man's just run with his head down. And
that's Roman, isn't it?
Yep, he's good, he's quick, but that's about it.
That's about it. Ole out, Arteta in.
That's a United fan.
I really can't understand. Like, he's so lucky. I will say this one last thing, right? Arteta's so lucky fans aren't there. He's so lucky because I think we've lost 8 times at the Emirates. He would have been gone by now. Yeah. I'm certain he would have been gone by now, because I don't think our fans would have tolerated 8 defeats at the Emirates. He would have been gone. And it would have got so toxic. I mean, they were saying Wenger out when he'd lost 4 games in 32 games. Can you imagine? He's
shocking.
Lost 12.
Yeah.
Shocking.
And they were saying Wenger out because he was 4th at the time with a whole bunch of draws.
Jesus.
Okay. So imagine how it will be now. It will be so toxic in that environment. The COVID saved his career. If he goes on to become a great success, I will shut up and I'll say, COVID saved you, bruv. It saved you. because if the fans got a hold of it, it would have been
It'd been
toxic.
nightmare. Ole would be
toxic.
if Ole go win the league next season. I'll say the same as well. And the final comment.
Final comment. Let's go. Ole has zero tactical knowledge, unlike Arteta. Stick with him, goon. Okay, I do like. Listen, I'm not super anti Arteta. I'm just a man based on what I do on a day-to-day profession. I'm all about results. Okay, and if you're not performing, and we can finish 10th at the end of the season, I said it all along. If you win the Europa Cup, I'll forgive. Move on. It's a new chapter. If he doesn't win it, I'm after his head.
No, don't worry. If I don't win it, you see the back here? Ole out. I've got it ready. If we don't win a trophy, it's going to go up. Ole out. But go on. Let's finish. Breezy, this is all you, mate.
Thank you guys for watching FTB Sports. Thank you for
Appreciate
Travis, Solo 7, and
Appreciate it.
hopefully schedule something in the future.
Yeah.
Excellent, guys.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for joining.
Excellent. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.